Welcome back, guys. In today's episode we're gonna be installing the valve springs and then the retainers and putting the head onto the block. We might have some time to put the oil cooler on the oil pan over there and the rubber seal around the oil level sensor. As much as I would like to install the oil pan right now, I'm missing only one seal, and it's for the oil pickup tube. So the seal that goes around here. So unfortunately I have to wait for that. But the engine is pretty much complete. I do have the water pump, the oil pump, and then the timing belt that I will install once everything is perfectly good. I'm not missing any seal or anything. So we're gonna be doing that in today's episode. So in case some of you guys have never done this job, I'm gonna show you. So pretty much the valve springs are what's gonna help the valve come back into place whenever the cam is pushing on the top of it. Not the actual spring, but the retainer and the cup. So this here with the retainers, I took the time to put one on the inside. So it has a cone shape. Let me show you. So it won't focus. There's a cone shape, so it's shaped like that. And whenever you put the retainers on the inside, like here, you can see that this is how they're shaped. They're very small. So whenever you put that, it's gonna apply pressure on the end of one of the end of the valves and the retainer over here. So it's gonna stay in place and not like be out of. And it's not gonna be out of sync or out of place. So without further ado, we're gonna install the valves. I'm gonna show you a small tip on how to actually install the retainers on the very end of the valve. It's a very simple trick. Some of you might know it, some of you won't, but I'll still show you guys. So first thing first, we're gonna need a tool like this. That it doesn't have to be the exact same one, but this is what you pretty much need for a job like this. So this is gonna be used to put pressure onto the springs so you can install the retainers at the end, and I'm gonna show you how to do so. So in our case, there is no particular order or like direction you need to put the springs in. So we're gonna put the first one in. Then we take the retainer, place it onto the middle and make sure it is centered with the valve. Everything's seated properly. So you're gonna take the time to put the tool. So one end is gonna go onto the valve, so directly into the combustion chamber on the head. Make sure you're not scratching the head or damaging it. Same goes here, make sure you're not scratching the inside, so that way there isn't any physical tension or friction whenever you install these right after that. We're gonna do that right now. Right, so I'm gonna make sure it doesn't fall, and I'm gonna take the camera and actually show you what it looks like from close. So on one end, personally, I do like to use a small rag. You don't have to do this, but I personally do like to do that. Just know that it does make it a bit more slippery and you're more prone to damaging it if it slides. And on that side, you see, if it focuses, there is enough space now to put the retainer. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna try to put it on the tripod and keep it directly focused on it. Okay, so now the tool is adjusted perfectly. So just for the sake of comparison, I put it here, but without compressing it. Obviously, the tool is here. So you see, I can't even touch the valve. So that's why you need this tool here. So my trick is I use a small flathead and then put a dab of grease on it. And what I do is I simply and slowly put it inside there. So first half is in. There you go. So once this is done, just to make sure, I'm gonna wipe the grease off of the flathead. Use 2 of them and just to compress them, making sure they're in place, which is the case right now. So I'm gonna put them down and then slowly, while always looking here so it stays in place, releasing the tool. And there you go. So first one is installed. Looking good. Sweet, so I'm gonna wipe this. You can keep it if you want, but just for the sake of the video so it looks good, I'm gonna wipe that. There you go. So that is installed. Very happy. Next step is installing these. These go that way, like that. One thing I'm gonna do is just wipe them and then put some assembly lube just to make sure there's no additional friction for the first starters, and that's it. So for the sake of this process not taking 5 days, I'm gonna take the time off camera to install all of them. You can see I installed the retainers. I just have to compress them and then install the small nut clips. I'm really not sure what they're called, but I'm talking about these. The very small retainer here, if it focuses. These here, so the small has. I have no clue what they're called. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's the same exact process for the exhaust or the intake side, so it doesn't really matter where you start. Just make sure you keep it in an order so you don't get confused or forget a step. And then once everything's installed, I'll just make sure the insides are all clean, and then we're gonna be making sure everything's clean and ready to go. Finally finished. All of the springs are installed. If you can see there, they're all installed. You don't have to actually clean them. I just took the time so it looks better on camera, but it doesn't really matter. It's grease and oil anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So that's done. Now next step is installing these. I'm just gonna lube the outer surface for the friction, and that's literally it. That's all there is to it. We're gonna do that. I already cleaned them. Let's do this that way. Now this is all installed. You can see there. In case you do not know what this is, so normally there's the camshaft that goes all the way for the intake and the exhaust side, and then the camshaft shape is half of it is a circle and the other one is like a dome, an egg-shaped oval if you want. So whenever it's turning, whenever it's on the circle side, it's not actually touching here. Whenever the lobe gets over here, it pushes this down, which then opens the valve. And this is why timing is very important on these. Well, pretty much any engine. And this is why there's a timing belt, which once you put everything in the right order, you put the timing belt so everything is always timed and synced perfectly.